Justice Friends is the newest film in the DC cinematic dumpster fire. It stars Batman on his quest to make some friends. This is of course metaphorical for Warner Brothers searching for reasons as to why their movies can't reach over 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. A quest that is not helped in any way by the fact that emo smelly man Zack Snyder is still attached to the project. However, this time they've seemingly tried to paint over his emo crybaby poetry, because they've hired on vampire racist and Avenger junkie Joss Whedon. Presumably to bring over Marvel's dedicated fanboys. It's a good thing they didn't burn that bridge by declaring that their movies were smarter than Marvel fans were. That would have been silly. This could have been a great idea if they'd kicked off smelly Zack right at the start and let sexy Joss Whedon do his thing. But there was very clearly some blackmailing going on because Joss Whedon wasn't allowed to just throw out the entire movie and start from scratch. Or the entire dumpster fire cinematic universe. But I'm assuming third time's the charm doesn't apply when it's your third reboot of a series within like 10 years. Unless your name is Spider-Man, of course. The entire film is essentially Josh and Zack playing tug-of-war with the tone. You can usually tell who was in charge of what scenes based on the tone itself, but my favourite scenes are the ones where the tone changes mid-scene. You can see an example of Zack Snyder throwing a little tantrum towards the start of the movie. For some reason he thinks his movies about men who run around in their underpants should be very gritty, realistic, and political. However, Joss Whedon seems to realise that funny men that run around in their underpants shouldn't be taken too seriously. But sadly, Zack Snyder knows where all the bodies are hidden, so most of the time, most of the scenes are just really serious scenes, with banter sprinkled in every now and then. This does occasionally work. There's a scene midway through the movie where the Flash and Cyborg are digging up Superman's corpse, and Flash turns to Cyborg and just says, "You know, this is pretty messed up." Which, come to think of it, should really have been the movie's subtitle. Justice League. This is pretty messed up. Surprisingly, tonal whiplash isn't always effective in this movie. My favourite scene is the start scene, where Wonder Woman stops the bank robbery, or the terrorist attack, or whatever it is. Zack Snyder seems to really have a boner for 9/11-esque imagery. At least in Man of Steel, they had the dignity to make it, sad. In this movie, they play the Wonder Woman theme over the terrorist attack. It's like he's happy about it. I bet those kiddies in the audience love watching those innocent people get gunned down. That's my favourite part of the movie, mummy. I wonder what's more traumatizing for kids to watch this movie. The Wonder Woman bank robbery scene, or the Deadpool sex scene. Speaking of children and inappropriate material, Cyborg is in this movie for some reason. Was he in the Justice League in the picture books? Cyborg's backstory has been completely changed in this movie just to fit the weird plot. Instead of being a trapeze artist who got mangled during a performance, he now got his injury from the incident, an explosion that's never really explained. His pappy just used the box to fix him all up. He's okay now, he's fine. He's really mopey though for someone who came back from the dead. You know, if I came back from the dead, well, I think I'd be mopey too. I don't want to live either. You can see where Daddy Joss Whedon started meddling here though, because for the first third of the movie he's really mopey, depressed, watching Batman and Wonder Woman talk in a park from a distance like he's me in primary school, and secondary school, and college. And after the halfway point, Cyborg suddenly becomes really peppy and quippy. The studio finally realised that having Cyborg act like a school shooter wasn't ideal. Speaking of school shooters, The Flash! Flash is basically Donkey from Shrek. He does nothing in the plot but spout catchphrases. So basically, no one cares about the Flash. This movie took a big risk by changing Flash's personality. He's no longer strong, confident, and basically Sonic the Hedgehog humanoid. He's now basically Peter Parker. Because as we all know, socially awkward nerds with no people skills are the most charismatic people on the planet. And also, Aquaman's here, I think. I don't know, he didn't really do much. I think I've said more about him here than the movie did. So the big question is, was it a good movie? I don't know. I'm just glad I didn't pay for it.